Hey guys, welcome to Get Life Podcast Kunai. Today we're not reviewing an anime, and you're like, Bish, why man? You reviewed anime, why are you not doing that more? It's mainly because at the moment, this whole coronavirus situation is kind of put us a little bit off schedule. We have episodes coming up, so our Oremo episode will be out later this month. In the meantime, we have a special recording with Jordan Dash Cruz. Jordan, say hello.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah. So, Jordan, for those who don't know you, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Well, my name's Jordan Dash Cruz, as you said. I'm a voice actor for Funimation. I do voice, the anime characters. I also do a little bit of video game stuff and a little bit of on-camera stuff as well. I live in Texas. Hence, voice acting for Funimation because Funimation's in Texas. And yeah, it's enjoyable. I love it. I love the fans. I love the shows that we're able to do. Anime's always been a pretty big part of my life for at least the last maybe 8 or so years. So being able to work in an industry that, kind of helped inspire me is really, really cool. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty awesome.
Good to hear, and we'll kind of get into that and how you started in a moment, but before we do so, we'll jump into our disclaimer. Usually it's Kevin that does the disclaimer, but Kevin's not here at the moment, unfortunate. So I'll do it instead. So for you new folks, Get Life Podcast Kunai is a monthly anime discussion podcast under the Get Life group. Due to the nature of our discussions, we can't avoid spoilers for the show that we're discussing. For the shows that are based off existing pieces of work, whether it's manga, light novel, or any other media form, we're not covering the source material. And we can be found on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to recommend a show for us to watch and make an episode of Kunai for, send us your suggestions on Twitter at GetALivePodcast, or you can just simply leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. If you like what we do and you want to support the show directly, make sure you support our sponsors. Go to www.getalifepodcast.com/Japan Crate. Use the code GALP for $3 off your awesome box of Japanese candy that gets sent to you every month. It's amazing. Go and check it out. Additionally, if you really want to watch anime, if you're a really big fan of anime, as I would imagine you guys are listening to this, be sure to check out and support our sponsor Crunchyroll. So go to crunchyroll.com/kunai for a 14-day free trial of Crunchyroll Premium. They've got over 2,000 anime already ready to watch. And finally, our final sponsor, a new one, J-List. If you love all things Japan, if you want to get some stuff imported from Japan, whether that's import games or Japanese goods, like a kotatsu. If you wanted a kotatsu in your house, we've seen it in anime all the time. If you wanted one of those, you can buy it from J-List. Go to www.getlifepodcast.com/J-List and use the code GALP for 5% off on everything on J-List, including pre-orders. So if you want to get yourself some anime figurines, you can. If you want to get anything from Japan, go to J-List. Anyway, back to the conversation at hand. Jordan, I just want to know how you got into voice acting, because it's such a unique job. Not many people do it. Not many people have the ability to do it.
It's a pretty interesting story, to be honest with you. So as I said, anime has kind of been a big part of my life for like the last 8 or so years. I'm 29, so about 21, 22 is kind of when I quote unquote discovered it, which is pretty late in the game. A lot of people, they were already watching like Toonami as like kids and everything, but I didn't have cable. I was an actor in high school, and it was something that I didn't know I was going to enjoy. It was something that I was like, hey, let me go ahead and give it a shot. And after high school, I had some people saying, oh, well, why don't you pursue acting? But, I was thinking, I was young at the time, so I'm thinking, well, I don't know if I can really make a living with acting. So maybe I should just get a quote unquote real job and see how that turns out. And a buddy of mine, fast forward a couple years, he was a huge anime buff. Absolutely loved anime. I mean, this guy has figures beyond figures, He kind of introduced me to anime. I remember hearing the English voice acting, particularly, I would say, Crispin Freeman, who's a voiceover legend. And I remember thinking, man, this is really cool. Like, I would love to get into this, This is, a lot of fun, or at least it seems like it would be a lot of fun. Yeah, I think I can do this. So from there, just bought myself a microphone, started, doing little like fun things, online, like indie projects and just little things like that. Met some really cool people and we just kind of connected. And then I want to say in 2016, I kind of made the decision of, hey, I really want to pursue this as a career. Like, I don't want this to just be a hobby anymore. I really want to do this. So from there, I moved, just, picked up my stuff, moved to Texas. I'm originally from Florida. And, that's pretty much just how it started. I took a lot of classes when I got here, was able, again, to just meet really wonderful people in the industry. And it was one of those things where I feel it was kind of just being in the right place at the right time. You know what I mean? Where you kind of weren't expecting someone to take notice, and they did, and they gave you an opportunity. And at that point, you just have to say, well, if I've been given this opportunity, I'm gonna run with it. I'm gonna do what I can to really impress and really show, hey, I belong here. I would hope that that's what happened because I'm still getting work. So it was just, like I said, it was just one of those things where, I had a goal in mind, and I told myself, I said, I'm going to do what I can to achieve this. And, thankfully it's been something that I have continued to do for the last 4 years.
So, I mean, it's very interesting because you're relatively new to it in comparison to, the voice acting legends of past, right? So
yeah.
It's kind of weird me saying that, but at the same time, I found it very interesting that you're not from Texas, right? So why did you decide to move to Texas as opposed to going to LA? Because I know there's a lot of voice actors living in LA and they're doing a lot of anime dubs and stuff. So why Texas specifically? Was it because of Funimation or?
Well, that's actually it's very interesting. The original plan was actually to go to Los Angeles for me. There was a buddy of mine, Jalen Cassell, who he's done a lot of stuff out there in LA, and I want to say he's directing stuff now too. But I had been, friends with him for a while. He's one of the people that I actually met, online when we had first started. The plan was to go to Los Angeles. The reason why I chose Texas, one, obviously the cost of living is a little bit cheaper, but at the same time, I was going through a choice in my life, and it was, do I want to go to Los Angeles or do I want to go to Texas? Because Funimation was also an option for me. I remember what kind of swayed my decision was, like, for me personally, I'm religious. I'm a Christian, and I went to a church retreat months before I made the decision. And it was funny because the pastor of the retreat, who was a former member of the church that I went to, he had moved to Texas, and he was now the youth pastor of a church that I had wanted to go to in Texas. So when he told me, like, oh, hey, like, I didn't realize that we had, like, Funimation at, in Texas, in Flower Mound. I work at a church in Flower Mound. And when he told me that, I was kind of like, oh, well, I think that's the choice right there then. Like, that's, like, easy for me. Which, at the end of the day, I definitely think it was the right choice, because I've met so many wonderful people just here in Texas, and have gotten so many opportunities that I don't want to say I wouldn't have gotten in LA, but I feel I just feel at home here,
It's a very unique case, It seems as if the stars aligned for you to go to Texas specifically. Would you say that?
Yeah. I often think about it, and it still baffles me that things just worked out in a way that I could have never imagined that they would have worked out.
One thing that I wanted to know is that once you got into Texas and once you got yourself settled in, how long did it take you to get into the industry? As in, first audition, first role, and did you find it quite easy, or is it like a lot of rejections at first and a lot of like harsh criticism, or did you just get in and just go through the doors and you're like, yes, I made it?
It unfortunately wasn't like that. So I had moved to Texas in 2016. And like I said, I took a couple classes, met a couple people, and my first, anime role, quote unquote, wasn't even for Funimation. It was for Okratron for Black Butler Book of the Atlantic. I had done some Walla for that. And how I got in was one of my coaches, Terry Doty, her and her husband, they called me into Okra and they were like, hey, we got a couple things and we want you to, do a little bit of Walla. So I was like, yeah, sure. I actually didn't get into Funimation until October of 2017. So I had already been here for about a year before I actually made it into the Funimation building. Yeah. The way that happened was, again, just one of those crazy things where at the time, like I said, I'd been here for a year. I had reached out to Dave Trosco, who had been a director at the time. And I kind of just asked him, I said, listen, man, I've been here for a year. And I just want to know, like, what advice do you have for someone like me who's trying to get into Funimation and trying to, make this happen? I don't want to step on any toes or anything like that, but, I wanted to see if you can give me some advice. And graciously, he responded. He sent me an email back, which was really awesome of him. And then it's funny because I want to say 2 months later, Dave was actually casting for a show he was directing, which was Anime Gataris. He was holding auditions. And the way I came about, I guess, receiving an audition was I had taken Sonny Straight's class, and Sonny had mentioned, hey, Dave is looking for people to audition for his show. So why don't you guys send him your demos, your contact information, and see if something hits. So I sent Dave my stuff, ended up booking an audition. Surprisingly, I was like, oh, shoot. And, went to the audition. It was funny because the characters I auditioned for aren't even the characters I got cast as, or the character that I got cast as. I ended up auditioning, ended up getting called into a Walla session, I want to say a couple days later, did the Walla session. And before I left, Dave pulls me aside and he's like, hey, so I know you did some Walla for this, but I also decided to cast you as Aurora, who's like one of the main characters of the show, one of the main ensemble cast members. And I just remember my jaw dropping, and I afterward I kind of am just freaking out in my car. I called up Brittany and Matt, who like I said are good friends of mine, and I was just like, hey guys, so I'm kind of freaking out right now. Some good stuff happened, but I'm kind of shaking a little bit. Like, can you calm me down?
So I imagine it was like a prolific moment for you, right? Getting cast in your first role and it being, main ensemble cast. Must have been a big thing for you. How did you calm yourself down? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Was it, your friends, they helped you out, or was it like...
They did. It was actually a pretty funny moment. I drove over to their house, and I kind of, very, very quietly just mentioned what was going on, because we're, obviously NDAs, so we can't just be like, oh, hey, I booked that, but pretty much I just kind of went to them and I'm like, listen, guys, some really good stuff happened. I can't say exactly what, but let's just say I got cast in something. And I told them, I was like, all right, how do you guys handle this? Because, they've been in the industry, longer than I have. They have more experience. So I'm just like, how do you guys handle this? Like, how do you guys handle this news? Because I don't want to obviously, I want to do a good job. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to, freak out when I get there and just be like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. So they gave me some solid advice. And also, like I said, it was funny because I had told them, I want to say it was a few months prior. I was like, hey guys, I got a good feeling about this season. I think something good's going to happen. And, they kind of just blew it off like, yeah, okay, whatever, Jordan. And then go figure, I end up getting cast.
You proved them wrong.
I did. I did. So it was kind of a fun little moment that, the three of us had together. So it was a lot of fun.
We're going to go for a little ad break, but afterwards, we're going to talk about some of Jordan's roles, so stick around for that, guys. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Crunchyroll. Go and check them out at getlifepodcast.com/Crunchyroll for a 14-day free trial of Crunchyroll Premium service. That means anime without ads, 1080p HD. You can watch it on all your favorite devices, your TVs, your phones, whatever. Even if you want to watch it on your Chromecast, you can as well. That's amazing. Go and check them out. 14-day free trial. You've got the most diverse collection of anime and manga on the internet. So go and check them out. It's a no-brainer, lads. getlifepodcast.com/Crunchyroll. Thank you, Crunchyroll, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by the lovely people at Japan Crate. Japan Crate offers a unique experience of Japan through monthly crates filled with candy, and who doesn't love candy, right? Japan Crate brings you a delicious selection of snacks every month. You can check it out on our YouTube channel for $35 a month, and you can cancel anytime, but I don't know why you would want to. Learn more at getlifepodcast.com/Japan Crate. Remember, use the code GALP for $3 off on new subscriptions. So, getlifepodcast.com/Japan Crate. Use the code GALP for $3 off. And if you want to check out what snacks that you get in the crates, go and check out our YouTube channels. Links will be in the description, so go and check them out. Thank you, Japan Crate, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. We are back with Jordan, and I just want to talk about your roles, Jordan, because I'm looking at your website right now. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of anime that I've seen on this list, and a lot of anime that I'm currently watching. Just so you know, just so everyone knows here, I rarely watch dubs. I know, and it's like, well, Bish, what the hell? Like, you're talking to, a voice actor, and you don't even watch dubs? What is this about?
Hey, it's all good, brother.
I'll just be honest with you guys. It's just because sometimes I find, at least back in the day, like I got into anime about around 2012. It's about almost around the same time as you, really. So, I mean, my previous experience with anime before 2012 was just like really bad, cringy dubs from like the 80s and the 90s. And it was, so it's like, it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. And I think recently Funimation has done some really great works. I mean, in the modern age, right? Yeah. With dubbing and stuff. Like, for example, there's a show called I can't even remember it now. Panty and Stocking. Have you seen that show?
I have not seen it, but I have heard many things.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I think it has Jamie Marchi. I'm not sure, but it's a pretty big Funimation show. It's lovely.
Yes.
I only want to watch that in the dub, and we've covered it on the podcast. Usually we only cover the sub because it's more consistent in that sense. For that anime, we couldn't watch it in the dub. I mean, we couldn't watch it in the sub. We had to watch it in dub because it was just that much better. So there's a lot of shows that you've been on. So I just want to kind of talk about that. I want to talk about the first thing that's coming to my mind is Overlord. How was it to be on Overlord? Because for us, at least for me, Overlord's like one of my favorite shows. If I'm not mistaken, you were on the 3rd season, right?
Yes, the 3rd season.
Because I saw the clips that you were in, because I quickly, before this episode, watched those episodes that you were in, because you played Nimble, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to do my research, Jordan, all right? Otherwise I look like an idiot. I really enjoyed your performance. That, to me, was great, especially in that scene. Nimble's like, he doesn't truly understand what's going on. He's very shocked and whatnot. When you go in and record those things, how do you know what's going on, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, you're going into a voice booth or whatever, and then do you have other people with you? Are the other actors there? Or is it just you're recording the lines and you get to see the video or whatever? Or how does that work?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much we go into the booth just one at a time. A lot of times it's just we're scheduled just ourselves, so there won't even be any other actors. It'll just be us We walk in, directors sitting there at their desk, engineers right beside them, and they're just like, hey, what's going on? Oh, I'm good. Oh, that's great to hear. Hop in the booth. So we'll hop in the booth. Engineer will set us up. Make sure you say thank you, obviously. And then we've got 2 screens. One of them has the lines that we're supposed to say, and then the other one has the clips, the episode, on screen, so we can do our best to match the mouth flaps.
I think a lot of people online kind of shit all over dubs, and I know it's really bad for me to say, but when you realize the amount of work that goes into it, and saying it now, when you're saying you're going in by yourself in this booth and there's engineers around you, but you don't even get to see the other person acting, you know what I mean? So it's like, how can you know what the other person is saying? I know you have a script, but still, like, how can you predict their tone of voice and all of that kind of things? Because it's like, when I saw it, the final product, it seemed seamless, and I would have assumed that you guys were all in the same booth.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, I would say it's definitely a lot easier when you have someone else who's already recorded before you, so you can actually hear the audio and their lines and whatnot. But it's always a bit of a challenge when you're the first one, and you're just in there, and you're like, all right, so I guess I got to set the scene. I hope I act well enough to where we don't have to redo this.
Is that a common thing within recordings? Like, do you guys do a lot of re-records and stuff, or?
Sometimes we do. I would say a lot of times, I've had to do a couple myself. They're just called pickups. For me, sometimes they'll change like the animation in the home video release. They'll add a flap, or they'll release let go of a flap, so they have to change the line so it fits. Other times, they'll change the pronunciation, or they'll change just a character's name. I know for Anime Gataris, in the simuldub that we did, the blonde-haired girl, who was played by Alison Victorin, she was named Arisu, and that's what we called her in the simuldub of the show. But when it came time for the home release, the creators of the show, I believe, changed her name to Alice. So anytime we had said Arisu in the show, we had to go back in and re-record and say Alice instead of Arisu.
I understand why they did that, because it seems to be like correct localization, because Arisu is probably how you would say Alice in Japanese, I would imagine. That just makes the most sense to me. But it's interesting in that case. So you would have, I'm imagining, obviously, with the simuldubs, you mentioned that. How long does it take, in your experience, for them to, produce an episode of a simuldub? Like, when you go in, by the time you go in, how long do you expect them, after you've done your lines, to get that episode ready?
I mean, I would say within the week. I think, again, I'm not a director, I'm not a producer or anything, so I don't know like all the ins and outs or anything, but I would assume that, they probably get the episode maybe a few days before, they start recording and they start doing, all the mixing and all that stuff to it. They call in the actors, we do the show, we do the episode, and then, it gets passed on, like I said, to mixing and mastering and all that stuff. I want to say it comes out either that week or like the week after. I know most simuldubs are 2 weeks behind the Japanese airing. So I would put it at about a week and a half, for everything to come together.
I mean, it's very interesting at the moment as well. It's also an interesting situation where you have shows like My Hero Academia, right, with Funimation and stuff. Because I saw recently on their Twitter that they're doing at home because of this COVID-19 situation, and it's like, have you had to experience that yet? Obviously, I'm not sure if you have or not, but
it is, and it's something new. I personally have not had to do it yet. I know some other people who have, and like I said, they said that it's different, but the fact that Funimation is dedicated enough to, do their best to still get these dubs out there, or at least the My Hero dub for sure, out to the fans, and, trying to find different ways. Because I would assume that it's not cheap,
No,
trying to get this done.
Equipment out to the actors and stuff. Not everyone has a home studio setup, so it's Funimation is spending a lot of money. Because when I saw that tweet and they were saying, "Oh, episode 84 of MHA is being recorded from home," and I was like, "What?" So I had to see the episode, and obviously I don't watch MHA in dub, but I had to watch the dub, and I was like, wow, I couldn't tell that this was recorded at home. Like, if it was me, I would have just assumed that this was done in a studio.
In the studio, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that just, I think that just goes to show, the amount of work that, the engineers and, like I said, the mixers and the masters, they put into making sure the show sounds good, and I definitely am very appreciative of them, because I think that a lot of times people tend to overlook, their work, and they're just like, oh, the actors did a good job acting, but it's like, well, sure, but these are the guys that made us sound good and made it sound, bearable, nothing's peaking, nothing's doing this, nothing's doing that. So I definitely think, these guys deserve much, much more credit than what some people give them, for sure.
They are kind of the unsung heroes in the anime dubbing industry. Speaking of the dubs that you were in and stuff, out of all of the stuff that you've done for Funimation, what would you say is your favorite to work
My favorite? Let me see.
Like, what was your favorite role to play?
My favorite role? So I would have to say, I know most people are always like, oh, well, I love all my roles. I do enjoy all my roles, but I would have to say for my favorite one so far has probably been Shota in After School Dice Club.
Okay.
One, I love board games. I love, playing with friends. I always talk about Brittany and Matt, but, they'll invite us over sometimes for board game nights. Me, Cliff, a couple of other people, we'll just get together and we'll, play board games. So being able to be being able to have a part in a show about board games is pretty fun. But at the same time, the character himself just reminded me a lot of myself and how I act. Over the top, kind of cheesy, kind of goofy, has a funny little sense of style. Thinks he's a little bit cooler than he really is. Like I said, just kind of a little bit of a dork, very high energy. So when Cliff cast me as this character, it was just like an instant just click. I want to say a majority of my performance in that show was literally just me being just silly and dumb and acting like I normally act, at our game nights. So it was a lot of fun. Shota was quite the character.
You can tell that you were having a lot of fun doing that. It's very interesting to me, After School Dice Club, because when it was originally being released for simulcast, I was is this a story I should tell? I'll say it anyway.
Hey, go ahead.
Basically, I was getting my wisdom teeth removed, or one of them getting removed, and I was in such pain, so they gave me like anesthesia and stuff. So I was basically drugged up when watching it. So on my original watch through, I was just watching it because I had nothing to do, and I was just watching it, and then I kind of forgot about the show. So by the time the anesthesia wear off, I was like, what the hell did I watch? So I have to rewatch it because I can't remember anything from the show apart from the first 2 episodes. So for me, I have to go and rewatch it like when I'm just you know what, I'll rewatch it after this. And
hey, please do.
there's a lot of shows on here that you are on. You know what my favorite role that you've been on?
Which one?
It's, and I know this sounds really silly, but it's Slime. You know Slime?
Oh, yes, of course, Tamara.
Yes. I know, it's so stupid. It's like,
oh my gosh.
It's like, Fish, you pick the role that he's in for like one episode, for like one scene. But that's my favorite.
Let me tell you something. There is a funny story behind that one. So I end up getting called in for this role, right? Clifford Chapin is the director for Slime. So he calls me in. And the show's just a silly show. It's about a slime. But the part that I'm in is the part where the character's actually human before he dies, which that's not a spoiler because the show is literally called Reincarnated as a Slime. So obviously he had to die. But I get called in for this, and Cliff is like, "Hey man, yeah, I called you in. I think you would be a really good fit for this character. He's just kind of chill. I just want you to use your normal voice. Don't do anything crazy or anything like that." So I was like, yeah, sure. So I do the character. I play the character, and Cliff, after the session, which this was a super fun session. Obviously, the material early on is kind of, heavy, but at the end, when he throws the freaking computer.
That's my favorite scene, the computer scene.
It's just so stupid. Oh my gosh.
See, that's for me, when I saw that, I could not stop laughing. And it was just like that, for me, that moment was better in the dub than it was in the sub. And I was just like, that's,
Thank you.
It was amazing. Bravo. Like, for me, what I found was really funny about it was also like the lines itself was great. And the localization of it was amazing as well. But the one thing I like about that character was just, he's such a bro. Like, Tamura is such a, like, if that was me, right? Mm-hmm. That guy would be a legend in my mind. Like, he's like God level, right? To do that for a friend, that's ride or die. Like, that's what it is.
I'm saying.
You know what? That's why he's like my favorite character of Slime. He was there for like one episode, but he's the best character of Slime, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was funny too, because it's like, his line, after he did it, he's just like, thank you. He's like, if I ever have a son, I'll name him after the hero who saved my life. And I'm just like, that's going too far, but I love it. It's so freaking funny and ridiculous.
See, that's the best thing about it, especially because I forgot the name of the slime in real life. What's his name?
It's I think it was Satoru. Or excuse me, Satoru, because Cliff didn't want me to hit the R like that. So,
so like when he got stabbed, like obviously that first couple of minutes within the episode gets really dark quite quickly.
It does.
It's like, I mean but the bit at the end just made it. It was like the icing on the cake. Like I forgot about the whole depressing bit. I just started laughing. It was amazing, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think dubs should really get more attention, because you can be more fun with it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So it was funny too, because Cliff had told me after the session, he was like, so I think this guy comes back, and the dude never comes back. I'm like, Cliff, I love you. This is hilarious.
To be honest with you, does he need to come back?
I don't think at this point, I don't think so. I'm like, he did his thing. He's the legend right now. Like, that's all that needs to be done. Anything else will just tarnish.
You don't want to tarnish his reputation. But speaking of that, you've also been in some other really like top tier shows like Dr. Stone.
Yes.
It's a great anime. Like, I haven't finished it yet, and to be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie, I'll be honest, I kind of dropped the show.
Okay, that's fair.
I was like 5 episodes in. I haven't even met Titan yet. I haven't met most of the characters. But it's just like, okay, Senku and his friend and his friend's girlfriend, like I've met those characters, and it's just like, okay, cool.
But, and freaking Tsukasa or Tsubasa or whatever his name is as well.
I mean, you know what kind of put me off from the show? And it has nothing to do with the voices or anything. It's the eyes. Why are the eyes so far apart like that? It freaks me out.
Really?
Yeah, it freaks me out, and I can't handle it.
That's such an interesting reason.
I don't know. It just seemed weird to me. It's kind of like the reason why I don't like watching the original Fruits Basket. But I mean, the eyes weren't as bad in Fruits Basket, but in this anime, it just seems so weird. It's like, is this a thing? Like, I thought there was a mistake, but like in like drawing them, but then no, it's all the characters are like that. I'm just like, why is this? Like,
yeah, it's funny. I want to say partially it's because the show's like a bit of a comedy as well. Like, I think it does hit some like, heavy points, but I think a lot of it is also very comedic. A lot of the characters, especially like Chrome and Ginro, which I'm assuming you haven't met yet because you said you haven't seen it. But Chrome is played by Matt Shipman, and Ginro's played by Justin Briner, who both do a phenomenal job. Oh, wow. And they're like, those characters are probably like the comedy of the show. Like, I mean, Senku's funny, and there's other comedic moments. But just when Chrome and Ginro are on screen, like the faces that they make are just ridiculous, and it's hilarious.
So one thing I wanted to know, especially with these shows, right? Do you get to see the final product, or do you wait until the simuldub is aired.
Yeah, we actually have to wait. We don't see the final product. They don't say like, hey guys, come and check this out before we post it. We go in, we record, we hope and pray that we gave a good performance, and then when they air it on Funimation's website, that's when we see it for the first time, if we so choose to. Some people, I know some actors, like they won't watch their performances. They're like, hey, I did it and I'm good enough with that. I don't need to see what I did. I'm just happy enough I did it. Me, I have to watch everything that I'm in, because for me personally, it's a way to train myself to go even higher with my performances. I can see this performance and say, hey, this was a good performance. Now what can I do to get better? So
okay. See, I thought it was just a reason for you to watch more anime, but that reason works as well.
That too. Yeah, that too. Support anime, support my friends. Absolutely.
There's one role in particular that I really want to talk about, only because I'm actually kind of surprised. I've never heard of this anime before. It's called Kochoki, right?
Kochoki. Yes.
Yeah, whatever it's called. My pronunciation is not the best. But you play Sakuma Moroshige, right?
I do.
And that's a historical figure. This anime is kind of based off of the Chronicles of Nobunaga. So it kind of starts with Nobunaga as a kid and then kind of works his way up until he's older and whatnot. It's very interesting because when I saw Sakuma Moroshige, it kind of gave me some sort of PTSD. I don't know why. It's just...
Really?
Yeah, because historically the character... Because I haven't seen this anime, but historically the character's kind of crazy. Like... And I don't know...
Is he?
Yeah, because he... And I'm not sure if this can be confirmed or not, but I've seen like old woodblock prints and I've read like folk tales and stuff. And it's like... He used to like... It's kind of weird for me to say this because I don't want to offend you, but
hey, all good.
He used to drink the blood of his enemies.
Ooh.
Yeah. But I mean, you see him in the anime and he's so calm and collected.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this guy, man, he's a psychopath. Like, what? I can imagine, obviously, they don't want to put that in the show because it's be a bit too graphic. But when I saw that, it kind of freaked me out. And I was like, what the hell? So I had to go and check the show out. And I was like,
why is he so calm?
He's so calm. Maybe there's something going on. Maybe something in the future, but...
if I'm being completely honest with you, that was actually probably one of the hardest roles I've ever had to play.
Why is that?
Because the character, as you said, is, at least in the anime depiction, is so calm and collected. And I'm the kind of guy where it's like, I'm very high energy. Like, that's just where I sit, energetic, youthful, and... this guy's got, in one of the episodes, like it shows very quickly he has, a family. So he's a father. He's, I want to say 30, 35, like maybe like, early 30s, mid 30s, something like that. I don't know entirely. So I kind of had to put myself in a mindset of like, okay, I can't be high energy Jordan for this. Like I have to be very calm, very low energy, very understanding, because at least that's the way that he's being depicted in the show. And on top of that, I don't know if you could tell, but, my voice is a little on the higher side.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of, pitch it down, but I couldn't pitch it down too much to where, it started graveling up like this or something. So I had to make him kind of calm and make him very just... calming. He had a calming aura about him. That was just, it was a challenge for me. Not like a bad challenge, but it was, it was one of those challenges where I was like, okay, let me see if I can do this.
I know this might sound like a joke, but if you knew about the drinking blood thing, would you have played him differently?
I probably would have played him how Jerry told me to play him, just because he was the director of the show. So if I would have done the crazy and he was okay with that, I would have been like, yeah, sure, let's just keep doing it.
Okay.
But he, which it's really funny because I want to say the first episode he's in is episode 4, and he had one line. And at the time, I had no idea what his personality was like. Yeah. Like zero. So, one line
doesn't tell you much.
That doesn't really tell you much. You're just kind of like, well, there's so many different ways I can say this, and I don't know his personality yet. So I would say in that episode, he's probably a little like goofier sounding, you know, than than in the rest of the series. Because I'm like, well, I hope that this is how we should play him. And then from there, you know, like I said, I think Jerry kind of wanted a bit more of like a calmer, very chill voice. So that's what we ended up going with.
Let's go for the final ad break of... Actually, is it the final ad break? I don't think it is. How many ad breaks did we do? We did one or two?
Yeah, I think we've done one.
Okay, so this is the second ad break of today. We'll see you in a bit. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Loot Anime. Loot Anime brings you the best collectibles and gear and merch and even more from your favorite anime and manga series from past and presents with a $60 value of each crate for $35 a month. And you can cancel at any time. It is a no-brainer. Learn more at getalifepodcast.com/Loot Anime and use the code GALP15 for 15% off on your next crate. Go and check them out. Support the show. In addition to that, if you want to see what's in the upcoming crates, you can go and check it out on our YouTube channel. Remember, that is getalifepodcast.com/Loot Anime. Use the code GALP15 for 15% off. Thank you, Loot Anime, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the wonderful people at JList. JList brings you the latest anime and otaku goods from Japan directly, whether that's anime, manga, cosplay, import game, visual novels. JList has got you covered. Learn more at getalifepodcast.com/JList and remember to use our link and the code GALP for 5% off on all purchases on JList. That's including pre-orders. Remember, getalifepodcast.com/JList. Thank you very much, JList, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Anyway, we're back and I really want to talk about some other stuff. Like, I want to ask you a very serious question. If you could voice in any anime, right? Any anime that's already existing, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say you're like, oh, I want to do a voice in blah, blah, blah. If you had the opportunity, which anime would you want to voice in?
Would I want to voice in?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me think about that just for a second. Because there's actually a couple.
You can say all of them. I don't mind.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
It's all right.
I probably starting off with like, you know, something that's a bit older. This was actually a show I watched as a kid that I didn't realize was anime because I didn't know like what anime was. But I would say Metabots.
Okay, never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a show that obviously it's an anime. And it's like these kids have like robots that they'll row battle, and they'll, you know, it's kind of like a little comedy, fighting as well. You know, they'll, like I said, it's like little robot battles, and that to me was a show that I just absolutely adored as a kid. I collected the VHSs. I would watch that show just nonstop. So I would say probably that one, and then Clannad. Or Clannad, I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
Okay, that's interesting.
Dude, I love that show, man. I watched it. It was one of the first shows I want to say I watched after being introduced to my friend, or after being introduced by my friend, you know, to anime. The performances were just top notch. The story was just absolutely beautiful. To me, it was very touching. You know, it was one of those things where I was just like, man, I didn't know anime could get this deep. You know what I mean?
To be honest with you, I haven't seen Clannad yet. Like, I know a lot of people love it, but once again, it's the eyes. I can't. The eyes are stopping me from watching the show.
I understand. So yeah, no, it's a good one though. If you ever do go around to watching it, I definitely would. And then of course, I mean, hence another key anime, Angel Beats, man. You know,
that's another one I haven't seen.
Because of the eyes. Got to.
I'm sorry.
Oh man, that one. I will say, like, you should 100% watch it because it's got everything, man. It has got comedy that has got you just rolling on the floor laughing. It has got just moments where, you know, your heart feels like it's just like, you know, like ripping the heart out of your chest. And you know, on top of that, you know, it's cool to see. You know, I want to say I watched it, man, back in like 2011.
Okay.
Something like that, 2012. So I was, you know, 21, 22 at the time, you know, fresh out of college. It's one of those things where it kind of, you know, hits you. You know, you see these high school kids, and obviously I'm not going to spoil it for you because you haven't seen it yet, but, you know, you feel for them.
Any other shows that you would be interested in voicing in, or because these are a lot of like older shows from what I've noticed, like
School Rumble.
Oh yes, oh my god,
oh my gosh,
yes,
dude.
School Rumble.
If I like, okay, I'm gonna act like a little bit of a fanboy. It's all good. I adore School Rumble. That is by far my favorite comedy, anime wise. Of all time. It is so enjoyable. The characters are written beautifully. The voice actors did such a phenomenal job. Everything about that show to me was just a solid A+.
100%, man. School Rumble was the only reason that I bought a Funimation subscription.
Really?
Yes. Before that, to be honest with you, because Crunchyroll and Funimation shared a lot of the shows. So I didn't really see the need to get, another anime subscription. And then my friend was like, dude, watch School Rumble. And I was like, should I really? And then I gave it a try. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. I'm
you're like,
subscribe.
This is the greatest thing.
It's so good,
This is the
man.
greatest thing ever.
It doesn't take itself seriously, but it's just so, oh man, I love it. Especially the dub. It's just, fantastic. It's one of those anime that I'd say watch it in the dub. It's a lot better. Like,
absolutely.
It's so good.
I mean, Brandon Potter as Harima was just, oh my gosh, so good. Such a stellar performance from him.
The one thing that I'm upset about School Rumble is that there is no true third season. They were making one, from what I heard, but I don't know what happened to that. Instead, it was like a third season type OVA, and I was just like,
yeah, it was. I think it was like 2 OVAs for the quote unquote third season, which kind of left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth, because it's like, being a fan of the series, I was like, man, this is how you guys are gonna end it, really? Like.
See,
there's so much more you could do.
The thing is, I don't think they planned to end it like that. I think they were planning for a full season. It's very difficult to say, because someone told me, right? I don't think the studio exists anymore. It's Studio Comet. But someone told me that the person that suggested it was like, oh, the reason that they cancelled it, the reason that there is no third season is because they cancelled it because people were pirating the show. Yeah. And I was like, if that's the real reason, then that's very bad. I mean, back then, it's like you can't recover from that. Like, if people are making copies on like VHS tapes, you can't recover from that. But nevertheless, I think that show was fantastic. I mean, the scripts were amazing for it. The jokes just landed one after another. It was just so good. Who's your favorite character, by the way?
My favorite character, it's actually a rare one. My favorite character was probably Yoshida Yama, who was one of the lackeys who then became like the main, like, quote unquote bully. And he was like that little short kid with like the yellow high top fade, and he partnered with the big guy, and who got stuck in the locker, and then I think Nara or something as well. I thought Mike did a hysterical job as Yoshida Yama. Plus, on top of that, I thought the high top fade was hilarious. So I was like, okay, absolutely, I'm down with this. So that was probably my favorite male character. My favorite female character was absolutely 100% Yakumo. Yeah, it really was. I loved Yakumo.
All right.
She was probably, and like, I'm a sound a bit like a fan here, but she was probably like my first quote unquote waifu.
Okay, fair enough. I don't. Okay, Yakumo. Okay, fine. I prefer as a character. I think Tenma is hilarious.
Oh, she's great.
Tenma's like my favorite female character, or either Tenma or you know what? Either Tenma or the wrestling girl. You know what I'm talking about? I think her name is Karen.
Was it Karen or was it Lala? Or it was the one with the green hair, right?
Yes, Karen.
Okay, yeah, I think that's Karen. Yeah, Karen was great too. I love Karen.
She's just great. The way she comes out of nowhere. The one character I hate, though, was the exchange student. I didn't like her.
Okay, which one? The blonde hair or the the other one? I know who you're talking about. Was it like Lola or Lala?
Yeah, she was like a martial artist or something. But I didn't like her, man. She just came out of nowhere and just started
beating everybody up.
Yeah, I thought, you know, it just felt a bit out of place to me. But the rest of the characters are great. Like even like Harima and like Karasuma and all the characters are just too funny in the show.
Oh,
like
Hinai is another like just classic. I loved the rivalry that Hinai and Harima had.
He kind of reminds me of the guy from MHA. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Tatum's character.
Ida.
Ida.
He reminds me of Ida so much, but I think it's because the glasses. It's just.
It is. I mean, like I said, School Rumble, absolutely. Golly, what else? There's a couple. I've always been a bit of a fan of sports animes.
Oh, okay.
Well, first off, before I get to the sports, Kiznaver is another one I would have liked, just because I really like the theme song.
Oh, the theme song's great. That's the only thing that's good about that anime.
Yeah, I was like, I love this theme song, so I would want to be part of it just for the theme song. For sports animes, I would love to be in now these two aren't dubbed, but if they ever did, I would absolutely adore the opportunity to be in it. But it's Yowamushi Pedal and Ace of the Diamond. So Ace of the Diamond is a baseball, and Yowamushi Pedal is the biking one.
Okay, I've never heard of these before. That sounds. Why those in particular?
Just the character development, just the fact that it's silly. It's goofy. It's all about, you know, teamwork. With Yowamushi Pedal, it's funny. Well, actually, with both of these, I'll be honest, they went on a lot longer than what I thought, you know, they were going to go for. Like, I thought maybe it would be, you know, 13, 24 episodes, you know, something like that. But, I mean, these shows have, like, I want to say at least 100 episodes each.
Oh, wow. That's a lifetime.
It is. And you know, the thing with shows that are that long is it gives you a chance to see these characters grow. It gives you a chance to see these characters like get better, train. You see just character relationships build. Maybe there's a character early on that you hated that, you know, you get to see their story and you're like, you know what? They're not so bad. So I would definitely say like these two shows are they're just a joy to watch. You know, it's those shows where you're like, man, I can't stop watching this.
I don't know why I'm answering the question, but you brought up sports anime. But for me, if I was to voice, I'm not a voice actor, but if I was to voice a character in anime, it would be a character in Free.
Free, okay, like Iwatowi Swim Club.
Yeah, man,
nice.
I love that. But the only reason I would do it is because the sub has the worst Australian accents. What is with that? Like, obviously the dub doesn't have that issue. Obviously, because I don't know if they got actual Australians, but it sounds more Australian than the sub, and it's just like, it was so bad. It was so bad. I was just like,
I want to say I watched that show, and I did watch it in the sub on Crunchyroll back when it like first came out. And yeah, I think I know the part that you're talking about, because I kind of was a little bit like, ooh, I don't know I don't know how I feel about that.
It just sounded a bit off. I was just like, what? It kind of raises a good point as well, because I don't know if they got Americans to do Australian voices or if they got Australians to do that. But I wanted to know, for you, the voices that you can do, right? Is it just an issue of pitch and like energy, or could you do other accents?
Yeah, for me personally, I've only ever really done like pitch changes and like, you know, tone changes. I haven't really had to do any accents. I'll be honest with you, I'm not like the best when it comes to accents. That's just, you know, there's some people that are just absolutely phenomenal at it. For me, I'm all about the cartoony. I'm all about the silly, the goofy, you know. So, I mean, I can do like, you know, like a Spanish accent, because myself, I'm Spanish. Well, you know, Puerto Rican, Latino. Yeah, for me personally, it's mainly just pitch changes, which I want to say in English dubs, like, we don't really have many times that we have to use like actual accents, unless like the character specifically calls for it. Like, I know with Black Butler, you know, everyone there has like a British accent.
Okay.
I want to say there's like a couple other shows where an accent for the character works because, you know, they're foreign or they're from, you know, England or America. But for us, yeah, I want to say most shows are just accent free.
I mean, when they're dubbing in Japanese, right, some characters will have like little quirks in which they might speak with a Kansai accent because they're from, you know, that region in Japan, so they kind of sound like a farmer, right? So obviously when it comes to the dub, they kind of give them like a southern
country. Yeah,
they give them that. One thing that I want to talk about before we end, you mentioned your start in anime and the shows that you started with. What would you say is your favorite anime?
My favorite
of all time,
like Of all time, like,
all time.
I'm in it or I'm not in it.
In it or not in it, your favorite anime that you've seen.
That I have seen. All right, give me just 1 second, cause I got a couple going through my mind that I'm like, is that my favorite?
Fair enough. I mean, we can have a little bit of discussion and then decide through that discussion.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like comedy-wise, School Rumble by far. School Rumble, like 100%. For more dramatic, more whatnot, I wanna say Angel Beats. I mean, Clannad and Angel Beats are both pretty up there. Also, Paranoia Agent is pretty wild. So, but you know what? Let's go with Angel Beats.
Okay, fine, fair enough. So then I'll go and watch Angel Beats, and I will tell you. We probably will do an episode of it. We'll review it, and we will probably just tarnish the reputation of that anime just because you like it.
All good.
No, I'm only joking. Another question that I have, and this is a very serious question, so please take it seriously, and I'm not joking here. What is your favorite meal?
My favorite meal.
Your favorite meal, because you live in Texas, right? And I heard
I do.
Texan food is like on another level, like barbecue and brisket and that kind of stuff is amazing.
Here's the funny thing about it, and I know you said it's a serious question. I was not born in Texas, so therefore I do not have a Texas palate. So for me, I mean, I'm a big fan of, Chinese food. I love like General Tso's chicken, but I mean, obviously, the junk food, pizza, burgers, stuff like that. I enjoy.
All right. What kind of pizza are we talking about?
Well, it's funny you should mention, I am a big fan of pepperoni pineapple, and a lot of people hate me because they
Pepperoni and pineapple?
Yes. We put pineapple on pizza.
I don't mind pineapple on pizza, but pepperoni and so there's no other toppings but pepperoni and pineapple?
Pepperoni, pineapple. Sometimes if I'm feeling crazy, I'll put like black olives on there.
That's an odd combination, but okay.
I'm an odd person.
Fair enough. I mean, would you go into, because I know you guys have a pizza chain that's apparently very good. It's called Home Slice. You know it?
I've never had it. I have never had Home Slice.
I was listening to the Rooster Teeth guys talking about it, and I was like, you know what? They opened one in London. I went to it. It's amazing. You should go and try it, because obviously they've got them in different places in Texas. But go and try it and ask for some pepperoni and pineapple. I don't know why that's funny. It's just I'm
pepperoni
sorry.
Pineapple, man.
It's a weird
all
combination.
I mean, it's even weirder that I got double pineapple. So
I mean, I'm not one of those purists that's like, no, you can't have pineapple on pizza, but pepperoni and pineapple, it doesn't add up to me.
It's all good. It doesn't have to. It just has to taste good.
Fair enough. I'll try that. Next time I call up Domino's, not sponsored. Next time I call them up, I will ask for pepperoni and pineapple, and we'll see how that goes.
Pepperoni, pineapple. So hopefully you enjoy it. If not, hey, that's all good.
So other than that, Chinese food and then pizza, you were saying other things as well. So I kind of cut you off.
Oh, it's all good. I lived with my grandparents for about 25 years. So my grandma was just phenomenal cook. And I love her home cooked meals. She would cook a lot of Spanish dishes. A lot of, rice with beans, and she would cook something called beefsteak, and she would cook like plátanos, which is just plantains, but they're fried. So just a lot of that home cooked Spanish meals. Those always hit the spot. So whenever I visit home, she's always the first one, like, hey, what can I cook for you? What can like what do you want? You're visiting, like, let's let me make you something. And she's like, what do you want? So I'll be like, hey, give me that rice, beans, and beef steak, please. And she's just like, absolutely. Oh yeah, it's incredible. So that's definitely one of the things I miss as well, is just grandma's home cooking.
You can't beat grandma's home cooking. I mean, it's the same with everyone, even for me. Oh, what else was I gonna ask? Because there's some weird and quirky questions that we tend to ask voice actors.
Sure.
And I'm trying to remember, because there was one episode that we did with KG Tank, And for the first 10 minutes, we were just talking about braces and stuff, which was kind of weird. Because at the time, I did have braces. So I don't have braces anymore, so we can't talk about braces. Oh, I have a question for you.
Sure. Shoot.
I don't know. It just doesn't want to come out. I don't know why. Okay, Jordan, you think of a question.
Think of a question.
Think of a question for me.
For you.
Yeah, we'll try that. We'll flip it around until I can figure out what my question is.
Sure. Well, I mean, this is a classic one. You know, it's from one of my favorite Saturday Night Live skits. If you were a hot dog and you were starving, would you eat yourself?
Now, what kind of hot dog are we talking about?
Just any kind that you want. You know, if you want, mustard, relish on yourself, ketchup, onions.
Dirty water New York hot dog, or like a Costco hot dog, or like what kind of hot dog am I?
I mean, just the best kind, the kind that you would eat.
Okay. I really like really bad hot dogs, so like, yeah, Costco like $1.50 hot dog. I would definitely eat myself. 100%,
Okay.
100%.
Good answer. So, I probably would eat myself too.
Speaking of hot dogs.
Sure.
What condiments do you put on the hot dog?
On the hot dog. Wow. Well, I mean, I like all the toppings, so I'll put ketchup, mustard, relish, maybe even a couple diced onions. I won't put chili on a hot dog with all those condiments though. If I get a chili dog, it is chili and cheese. So I won't go crazy with that because I feel like that would just mess up your stomach. But if we're going just plain dogs, I like most of the normal toppings on a hot dog.
Okay.
So
see, for me, I know this might sound weird, but mayonnaise, yes or no?
I'm not the biggest fan of mayonnaise.
Really?
I'll eat it, but like I'm not like huge.
You live in the land of mayonnaise.
I do.
America is mostly mayonnaise. That's what I heard.
It is, and I mean, like I said, every once in a while I will. I'll put mayonnaise. Sometimes I'm like I said, I'm from Florida, and we have a grocery store there called Publix, and they have the best deli sandwiches. So sometimes, if I'm feeling crazy, I'll order one and I'll put a little bit of mayonnaise on it. So, by the way, now speaking of Publix, I really want a deli sandwich.
But the thing is, you live in Texas. There's a lot of deli meats in Texas.
I do, but there's no Publix in Texas.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's better than a grocery store, a grocery store deli.
You'd be surprised, brother. If you ever visit Florida, and go to a Publix and order one of their deli sandwiches, and I'm telling you, your mind will explode.
So what would I put on that sandwich?
Anything. They've got the meat, prepared for it. So you can say, hey, I want an Italian, I want an ultimate, I want, this kind of meat, whatever.
Can I ask for pineapple in my sandwich? With pepperonis. Possibly. I don't think they have those as a topping, but they might be able to special make it for you. It's a grocery store, so I could get the pineapple myself and just buy a can of pineapple and just dump it on the sandwich. I mean, there shouldn't be an issue with that. But would I get arrested? That's the question.
No, I mean, I'm sure. I've asked for stuff on my sandwich before that they didn't have, and they just took it off the shelf, they scanned it out, and they put it on my sandwich. So,
okay. What's the weirdest sandwich that you've had?
The weirdest sandwich.
The weirdest sandwich that you just feel ashamed making.
Ashamed.
Yeah. This is a completely wrong idea, but I'm hungry and I need to eat.
I want to say as a kid, I got this idea because you see it in cartoons all the time where they stack a massive sandwich.
Oh yeah. The Scooby-Doo sandwich.
Yeah, and I want to say I put I don't even know. It was 5 pieces of bread all together. It was a triple quadra-decker or something. And I put all the toppings you would put on a sandwich. So ham, cheese, I think pepperoni, or not pepperoni, I'm sorry. Peanut butter, jelly. I don't know if I put like ketchup and mustard on there. But like it was maybe banana. I might have put banana in there too. But it was just a bunch of toppings all together, and I was like, this was a really stupid idea. I can't remember. That's the thing. I remember taking a bite, but I can't remember if I actually finished the sandwich.
You blacked out after that point.
Yeah.
It was just a blur. You wanted to forget. Your mind made you forget about that situation.
Yeah, it was like, oh man, what did I do? What have I done?
I'm trying to think about the worst sandwich that I've had, actually. Oh, you know what it was? I went to Subway. It wasn't a sandwich that I made, but I went to Subway, and in January they had this thing called Veganuary, like for vegans and stuff, and they kind of like, you can go into a KFC in London and get a for example, you can go into KFC and get a chicken sandwich without chicken. It's like vegan chicken, which is really weird. I don't know why KFC are doing that, but that's besides the point. So I went to Subway, I got like a meatball marinara vegan, and it was like, it didn't taste of anything. I'm pretty sure it was like cardboard dipped in marinara sauce.
Probably.
It wasn't the best sandwich. Now I'm trying to think about but that, I never really made a bad sandwich. I don't want to be that guy and be like, all the sandwiches that I make are great. But you know what the secret is?
What? Tell
mayonnaise.
Me. Really?
Mayonnaise. It's the secret to any sandwich. That and vanilla pots.
Okay, interesting. Interesting.
When I make a sandwich, I'll make like a chicken salad sandwich or like a tuna salad sandwich, like with tuna and mayonnaise and like different vegetables, like carrots and like lettuce and all that kind of stuff. And then I add a little bit of like Tabasco.
Okay.
Like maybe a whole jar of mayonnaise. I know it sounds really bad, but I'm making for like not just myself. Like I'm not a greedy pig. But I'm making for like a whole family. So I'll you know those like massive Costco sized jars of mayonnaise?
I do.
So you just like dump that all in, put a little bit of mustard, a little bit of wasabi, and then a little bit of vanilla. It kind of freshens it up. It kind of clears the palate a little bit.
I can respect that. I mean, I'd be willing to try it. You know, I'm one of those people where I'll try something. Absolutely. You know, I can't promise I'll like it, but I'll try it.
Well, I mean, coming from the person that eats pepperoni and pineapple, it should be a no-brainer there. Although at the same time, a lot of people eat fruits with meats, so it kind of makes sense. So
yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'll allow the pepperoni and pineapple.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
You don't need to call me sir. It makes me feel old. I'm younger than you.
Really?
Yeah. How old do you think I am? That's a good question.
I would say you sound like you're about 28, 29.
Cool. Good. Well, I'm actually 25.
All right.
Yeah. The funny thing is, the other day I was in the supermarket and some guy was just talking to me. I don't know who this guy was. And then he was like, oh, thank you, sir, this and blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, oh, how's your wife and kids? I was like, well, how old do you think I am, wife and kids? And the guy, without fail, just was like, I think you're like 37. I was like, what? But that's because I have gray hair.
Excuse me, sir? What?
Excuse, how dare you? It was just, no, I mean, I really need to get that gray hair sorted out.
That's all good. So, oh yeah, dude. A lot of people always think I'm way younger too. They're
yeah, like, I saw your picture and you look like you get ID'd for like a can of Red Bull. Like.
Oh yeah. I remember one time, I want to say I was like 21, and freaking GameStop of all places ID'd me to make sure I was old enough to buy an M-rated game. And I'm just like, come on, really?
You're like, come on, man.
Yeah. So. But
I mean, that's never happened to me. But, you know, it is how it is. I would rather be ID'd for, you know, a mature game than basically have someone think I'm 40. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's all right. The final thing I want to ask is this, and we're going to end the episode after this question. Where do you see yourself in the future?
In the future?
In terms of your work?
Yeah. I mean, I know I started doing some on-camera work as well here in Texas. I signed with my agent, I want to say a little bit over a year ago. You know, have been doing stuff for Funimation, have been doing, a couple little video games and stuff here and there. So I would say for me, a lot of people are always like, well, LA's the dream. And if that was to happen, like the opportunity to go out there and I felt like it was right, sure, why not? But for right now, I see myself staying in Texas, doing my best to get as much work as I can, being a respectful, employee, co-worker, friend, being someone that can be relied upon, that, directors can look at and say, hey, like this person is really cool. They're, very talented. And, I think I'm going to go with them, as far as the casting in this show. But also I'm very interested in, maybe one day, doing a little bit of directing myself.
Okay.
I think that it's a really cool opportunity to bring a lot of talented individuals together and, create something that, the fans and friends and colleagues and coworkers, you name it, can watch, can enjoy. Maybe they'll hop on Twitter or hop on somewhere and shoot you a message and say, hey, I just watched this show, it was so great. Everyone did such a good job. Or, hey, I just watched this show and it really inspired me to pursue acting, or it inspired me to do this, or, it helped me through a difficult time. I think it would be really cool to just get a lot of people together to do that. Plus, on top of that, it's always really cool to see, what other actors bring to the table and being able to just kind of guide them, to, getting like just a really, really solid performance from them and just working together as a team. It's kind of like that whole team game, I love just working as a team to really create something beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I think that's very poetic as well. So that very nicely said. Very nicely said.
Thank you.
So just to end this episode off, thank you very much, Jordan, for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I think we really hit it off. It was kind of like speaking to a friend. I really enjoyed that.
I appreciate it, man. I really do. I always try to be that guy that's just like, hey, don't mind me. Like, I'm just a regular guy like you. Like, let's talk about just silly stuff.
Yeah, I think it makes for a good episode. I also want to thank Ben. If Ben is there, I don't know if he's there, but thank you, Ben.
He's in his room.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much to Ben, because if it wasn't for Ben, we had a little bit of technical difficulties at the beginning of the episode. So if it wasn't for Ben, this wouldn't exist. So thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. And big thanks to our sponsors, Japan Crate, Crunchyroll, and J-List. So go and check them out in the description below. And where could they find you, Jordan?
They can find me. I've got a Facebook that I don't really use. But they can find me on Twitter at Dash Cruz VA. That's DASHCRUZVA. It's the same handle on Instagram. I'll hop on there every once in a while. And then I would say that my website, www.jdcvoices.com. I've got a little section on there too, in case anybody ever wants to, shoot a question or have an email. Or like I said, you can just go on Twitter and do that, because I'm on Twitter the most.
Fair enough. Speaking of Twitter, I just logged into Twitter now, and I'm on your Twitter page, and guess what is the first tweet that hits me in the face?
Which one? Oh, the pineapple. Yep. Oh, absolutely. Darn straight.
It's gone full circle, and that circle's a pizza.
It really has, and the best part about it is there's some actors that I had no idea enjoyed Pineapple on Pizza, and in the comments, I am now seeing that they do, so I just feel closer to them automatically.
You feel more connected.
I do.
Pizza. Where was that
Exactly.
pizza from? I'm really curious.
Okay. Sadly, it was from Domino's, but that's only because there was a...
What do you mean sadly?
I feel like there's a couple other pizza places that are better, but Domino's had a special, so I was like, yeah, let me go with Domino's. I feel like Domino's is like middle of the pack for pizza.
$7.99 though. That's a very cheap pizza.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. They had a special, so I was like, well, I have to take advantage.
Like here, that kind of pizza would cost me like £20. That's it's like what, $30 for a pizza? But okay, fair enough. That being said, we'll see you guys next time. Hopefully the next episode will be Oremo. If there is other people that you want us to interview, because this is a new thing for Kunai. I almost said a different podcast name there. If you want us to get in other people, other voice actors, other Funimation actors as well, because you know what? We love Funimation. So if you guys want any other suggestions for people, tell us on Twitter at Get Alive Podcast, and we'll try our best to bring them on. We can't guarantee anything because these are very busy people, but we'll try our best. And we will see you guys later.
All right. Take care. Bye.